828-248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. Champ and Chub vote starting to roll in. Also got a winner and who had the closest prediction on Michigan State. We'll tell you who that is today at 10:50 as you get our congratulations. Sorry, we don't have millions of dollars worth of prizes. We go to Frank in Clinton Township. Hi, Frank.
Hey guys, how you doing, man?
All right,
Frank. Trumping my champ up. The champ. There's no doubt. Tyler Strong. The kid gets out of his hospice bed and calls Purdue out to say, "Let's beat Ohio State, who's undefeated." And the kid goes to the game. I don't know if he had a parent or anyone going through this or have a family member. He got out of the hospice bed, goes there. Purdue comes in and smokes Ohio State. They're both my champs by far.
It was an emotional story that it was interesting because there's a lot of Buckeye media members that would, have to do analysis and after an Ohio State loss to watch them all get on board this story and say, look, that's an inspirational story. That kid, God bless him. It was, I'm just going to tell you straight up, that's my champ of the weekend too.
Yeah, that's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
And my Trump, I just want to put out there, so sick of social media. And I'm a Michigan fan, but Michigan fan and MSU fan, the big brother, little brother thing is so old. Please, God, get something new and creative.
Well, look, we talked about it last week, and I'm not a big fan just because it all takes away from the football. Some people love it because it stirs the pot and it intensifies the rivalry. I don't need it. Personally, I don't need it. But
look, there was plenty to stir the pot on Saturday. And I'm going to say it, the dumbass little brother comment from Chase Winovich is just stupid. It's just stupid for a guy who's not going to play another game against Michigan State to say it. Dumb, and the timing of it is just dumb. It really is. At least when Mike Hart said it, Michigan had owned Michigan State, and in that game in particular, when he said it, it had some sort of meaning, like, hey, we let them think they had it won because Michigan State had a huge lead in the fourth quarter. This was just dumb.
Well, I will tell you this, and I've said this to fans that get worked up about this kind of stuff, is just some advice long term. Don't let somebody who really doesn't like you act as any kind of definitive voice as to who you are. Like, your rival is not the person that defines you. Your rival doesn't like you. Your rival's going to say whatever they want. And so when they come out and say something about you, it is the one area where you could say, I'm not letting that person have any power in my head. I mean, but I'm not a fan of it because it takes away from football, and football's all I need. But I realize that people love it because it stirs the pot for this rivalry.
But I don't even think Michigan fans liked it afterwards. I mean, there was a Michigan fan right there who calls in and said he didn't like it. I mean, the stuff that happened before the game, that adds fuel to the fire. That adds to the rivalry. Obviously, Michigan's really excited about the win, and it meant something to them, which is great because, for a long time, it looked like it was just for the last 10 years, it's been pretty one-sided. They get the win, and it shows how much it meant to them as well. Even Jim Harbaugh admitted last week when he was talking with Jamie and Stoney that, yeah, we do pay extra attention to this one. And that's great. It all adds to it. That's awesome. That comment afterwards is just dumb.
248-539-9797. Tommy on a cell. Hi, Tommy.
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Good.
Happy Monday. Look, I can't champ Jim Harbaugh because I'm a State fan, so I can't give him the props. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to chump Mark Antonio, who looked like he didn't have an answer. The offense just looked horrendous. And
well, what answer would you have wanted to see there, Tommy?
Yards of offense.
Yeah. What answer would you want to see when the quarterback hadn't practiced all week? He's got a shoulder injury to his throwing shoulder. The backup quarterback isn't ready. Your offense is completely depleted by injuries. What answer was there for Mark D'Antonio to show up with an offensive for some offensive game plan?
I don't even know, Gator. I just don't know, but I can't. It just was hard to watch. Man.
Oh, it was very hard to watch. Offensively, they did nothing.
To watch, man. But yeah. So, like I said, I'm not champing Harbaugh because I can't do that. So I'm just going to chump D'Antonio. I'm strength to that. And then for my champ, there are so many guys in that Lions offense you could have champed, like you guys said, from the running back to receiver, tight end, to even Matt Stafford and take care of the ball and everything. It's just so I'm going to champ a guy that I wanted fired after like week 2. And I'm going to champ Jim Bob Cooter. I think he's got I think he's got something going. I think those first few weeks where they looked horrible, it might have just been missed passes and stuff. The plan might have been there, and it might have just been execution. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
they kept preaching that word, execution. You're right about that. And they have steadily improved. The offensive game yesterday was just brilliant. I mean, they executed with the blocks. They were able to sustain those blocks and open up the lanes for the runners. And, it wasn't just Kerryon Johnson running for big yardage in that game. I mean, you look at LeGarrette Blount, he had 10 carries for 50 yards. I mean, LeGarrette Blount did just fine running the football as well, and they had the one jet sweep to Golden Tate, which is why you want the ball in his hands, because he makes people miss, and he picks up 30 yards on that. Stafford had the one scramble for 9 yards. I mean, it was a nice running game, and it wasn't just running. It was throwing the ball efficiently. Stafford was 18 out of 22 in the game for 217 yards. I heard Pat Caputo say this last night. I mean, 10 yards per attempt is what the Lions averaged. 10 yards per attempt. That's impressive.
248-539-9797. Gator, we said this time we get into what's next for Michigan and Michigan State, and let's start with the Spartans. What, in your opinion, is next for Michigan State? Because all that happened on Saturday, probably the one thing that singularly I think both fan bases can agree on, without a doubt, because I heard a ton of it from the Michigan people, was sucks about Felton Davis. That sucks.
Yeah, when you tear your Achilles, those injuries are so bad. The second you see somebody go down and they haven't been touched, what's your first thought?
Well, it's often Achilles.
Often Achilles, and that's what it was, and it was terrible to see because he's a fantastic player, maybe the best receiver in the Big Ten, and out he goes, and probably done for the year there. That doesn't bode well to a receiving corps that's already depleted. What's next for Michigan State? They got to play Purdue, who just walloped Ohio State, and Purdue's now on a winning streak, and they're feeling really good about themselves, and they can wing the ball all over the field. And they also were able to break away some pretty big runs on an Ohio State defense that was just destroyed all game long, which was fun to watch, but maybe not going to be a whole lot of fun to watch at Spartan Stadium on Saturday. What's next? Who's going to play quarterback? Lewerke was banged up all week and didn't practice for the Michigan week. D'Antonio consults Lewerke's parents, so they're on board with any decision that Lewerke's going to make. He left it up to Lewerke if he wants to play. Is he going to play this week? Or is it time to say, all right, rest your shoulder for a couple weeks now and see what can happen? We're going to turn things over to Rocky Lombardi. And, is the offensive line going to get healthier? Matt Allen got hurt in the game on Saturday. There goes the center. How long is he out for? We don't know. They're just injury after injury. And I look at Michigan State, and you look back at that 2016 class, the recruiting class that they had. And they had a bunch of 4-star players from that recruiting class, the Donnie Corley class and all that. So many of those guys are gone from the team for various reasons of attrition. It was an outstanding recruiting class, unfortunately not outstanding in character. Those guys are done, and that's it's like half the class is gone. That speaks volumes as to why Michigan State is having some issues with depth, because here it is 2 years later. These are the guys you would expect to be emerging and emerging stars, and they're not on the field right now. On the offensive line, on the defensive line, guys at wide receiver, defensive back, whatever it is, that class kills Michigan State when it comes to depth. Michigan State may have returned a bunch of starters from last year, but if those guys get hurt, there's no experience behind it. So it's tough. And looking ahead for this team, are they going to limp forward for the rest of the season? I mean, LJ Scott's back, but if you can't open up a lane to run, it doesn't matter. And I'm not sure what to expect. Look, Purdue stuffed Ohio State's running game pretty good, and they've got a pretty good 1-2 punch with their running backs with Weber and Dobbins. So I don't know what to expect from Michigan State this week. And they're a very gutty team, but this is a lot to ask.
Their defense kept them in the game, right? I mean, the defense kept them in the game. Michigan had 5 possessions into Michigan State territory when they were up 7-0 that netted 0 points. And that's something that, I mean, the Michigan story is, of course, you got to capitalize on those. But the Michigan State story is defense kept you in it, and they ended up being on the field for over 40 minutes. And eventually wore down. Michigan was able to run the ball. They were able to run out the clock at the end of the game, and they got a couple of big plays from their wide receivers. But Michigan State's defense kept it in it. And from a Spartan perspective, that's what you hope keeps you going, is that you have that. Offensively, though, look, I always say depth matters most when injuries hit. Like, it's great. That's where you really are happy you have depth. But this has kind of moved beyond the normal course of a season injuries. It's unbelievable how many guys have been hurt for this team. But
it's an infirmary.
You mentioned that one recruiting class, and attrition from that class definitely is haunting them. 248-539-9797. We'll talk about what's next for the Wolverines, plus have our champ and chump today at 10:35. Doug Karsch, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket.